Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it is going to be Xena taking on not one, not two, but three opponents. That's right, I'm doing a bit of a special here today, as Xenabot is a bot that tends to have much shorter games, and as a result I tend not to cast it as much, or I tend not to cast it to its full potential, because there's a lot of selection bias when it comes to picking out replays that are a good length for YouTube, and so I figured I'd do a few shorter matches in one longer video. And yeah, so we're going to be having Xena, the cheesy bot, taking on Canon Ana, a very solid Zerg macro bot, in a TVZ, and boy oh boy is Xena ever living up to its cheesy reputation. We're on the map Equilibrium AI Edition for the first one, and so we're going to be doing a couple of matches here back to back, so don't go anywhere at the end of this one. But as we do get into this, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to go ahead, slap that like button, and let me know what you had for breakfast in the comments down below, as both those things help out greatly with the YouTube algorithm. And then subscribe, become a YouTube member, all that jazz. And yeah, we'll just see. LaughNgamez don't give you a lot of time to do introductions, as they tend to just start off pretty quickly. It is going to be Proxy Marauder against Zerg, and it's interesting, these tags: safe Proxy Marauder, false 83%, true 83%, so I'm not sure exactly what that is or not. Maybe just fake outs or something. We do have double Proxy Marauders coming up against Canon Ana to start this off. No concussive shell just yet, but I guess concussive shell is less needed if you're gonna proxy Marauder Zerg, as it's just not as good. But there we go, it does start on up. Well, it's not as effective. It's still just as good. However, like Lings, of course, if there's a bunch of Lings, proxy Marauders have a hard time shooting them all. If the Zerg goes Roaches, they're much more effective. We do have these Marauders just run on in and start punching that Nexus. Queens can be good targets for Marauders, particularly when they have concussive shell, as if they're not slow enough already. So these two Marauders are already setting to work. Canon Ana is going to have to deal with some aggression coming out here. Lings are already being produced as a reaction to this, and that's generally all you need as the Zerg, so we'll see how well the micro is. Two of these Marauders actually get sectioned off into the main base. They are working away on one of these Queens, however, their targeting changes, so that injured Queen could actually survive. However, it does end up getting picked off. Lings are the next target, but we do see that this attack has kind of fallen short for Canon Ana. We've got, actually one of the Marauders went all the way home. For Xena, more of these Marauders are being produced. Microing against Lings is such a risky gambit. I mean, the rules are different when it comes to machine-like micro, so these Marauders probably have better targeting than if I was to do this build, or really any human. But we do see these Marauders are getting some efficiency against the Lings, but the problem is it's just going to be a non-stop stream of Lings, so can the Marauders reach that high enough number to actually start getting through the defenses of Canon Ana? This is going to completely change once Ling speed is done, and it is now. That means the Lings will start getting hits off on these Marauders. The Lings didn't pool at all, though, so the Marauder count is much higher than that of the Zerglings, and Queens are out, another Queen has been made, but right now it is like 6, 7, no, 10 Marauders out on the map against just a handful of Lings at this point. And so Canon Ana may have bled off a few too many Lings when it was going off creep to try and clean this up. And Xena is living up to its cheesy reputation. We may even need to see a drone pull potentially with this. We do see the 4 Queens coming on down. There's the Lings. I mean, I did say a drone pull, but there's honestly not many drones to pull, as we're only 4 minutes into the game. One of those Marauders does go down. More and more Lings are being produced. Another Marauder is injured. These guys are kind of separated off, and so Lings are getting a good surround here. It's 24 drones to 19 SCVs. Xena is an all-or-nothing bot, so it kind of needs to win the game with this push. It is researching Stim behind this, which is funny enough. However, we do see another couple of those Marauders go on down. And it's looking mighty close, as there's still not that many lings for Canon Ana, and these Marauders will try and try again, and it's every time the lings go off creep, it gets very dicey for them. These queens are starting to retreat. How many more lings are being produced? 14. The number that's out on the map right now is only a measly 2, which is not very good. And the Transfuse gets dumped into that hatchery to buy a little bit of time. More of these lings are coming on down. The Marauder firing from Xena is just phenomenal, as a lot of bots, when they stutter step, they lose shots. Xena is definitely not one of those bots. It's got fantastic kiting micro to minimize the damage on the Marauder, well, to minimize the damage done to the Marauders, but then maximize the damage output, and supply for the Terran keeps on growing, and the ling count just isn't what it needs to be. Queens are doing what they can, however, Marauders get right in their face. There's going to be no escape there, and this is looking mighty problematic for the Zerg. Drones burrow, but that's not going to save this hatchery. A few more lings are being produced, but that's the problem. Just a few lings at a time. They all get gunned down so effectively by the targeting fire of these Marauders. And I don't even know if I could hold a build like this from Xena, as that is just brutal by the Terran bot. Well, by the random bot that played Terran, and I think Canon Ana is dead. It's now one base making a Roach Warren. It's only got like 5 lings against 14 Marauders. That ain't it. That ain't good, guys. And I think we're going to be seeing Xena take down this Zerg bot, as yeah, there's just nothing left. And it goes to show that you can design a darn good cheesy bot. Canon Ana is one of the better bots on the ladder. It had a relatively good defense there, but it just wasn't enough. Nope, says Xena with the little bit of BM, and that is going to be the end for this game. And so we'll jump right on into the next one. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. It is game number 2 for Xena's little series we're doing here today. And it's going to be Xena supposedly doing Protoss build safe macro. Going to be taking on Evil Zoey, as Evil Zoey, spin-off from Zoey, of course, and I'm honestly not too sure what the difference is between the two at this point, as they both play fairly similar for the most part. Maybe Evil Zoey a little more aggressive, but I honestly can't say that for sure. I should look more into the difference between Zoey and Evil Zoey. Either way, impressive. The bot author has 2 bots they put on the ladder, and we're on the map Hardlet, the AI edition this time. And now I know that that Xena is a bot that tends to cheese a lot. However, the macro play we have seen is very, very formidable. For example, the creep spread it has is crazy. Not that that's relevant in this game, as it's Protoss. And out of all the random replays I just decided to click on for this series, I do wonder if we're going to get a Terran version of Xena, or no, a Zerg version of Xena for our third match. I honestly just literally randomly selected 3 replays to be like, alright, let's see some unfiltered gameplay. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a bot author and you do want to send some replays my way that you've seen and thought are good, please do so. I'm on Discord, as it is we get pretty lucky as far as me clicking on random replays. However, ones that are pre-screened are definitely the best. And yeah, we see an Overlord coming on in, as Xena is just getting out double gateway into Robo. So it said safe macro, but it's yet to throw up a Nexus. I imagine we'll see that soon. All the while, Evil Zoey now making some Zerglings. Going to be getting out speed, I imagine. In fact, I guarantee it, seeing as how we all know how Evil Zoey likes to go for Ling run-bys, so not getting speed is not an option for this bot. And then double Stalkers on the way, as Xena just going to be getting out that Nexus, I believe. Now it's at 400 minerals. Nexus. No Nexus. Extra Stalker? Zealot? Come on, Xena. You're floating money. You're sleeping on the macro. Okay, it fires up another pylon and observer. And then finally a Nexus. Yeah, better late than never, I suppose. We do have Evil Zoey making quite a few Zerglings here, as it's already going to be starting to attack. However, it does pull on out, and these Zealots and Stalkers are going to actually chase these Lings a little bit. These Lings are going to turn. However, the Stalkers can micro very well, and we saw from the previous match that Xena has got some very darn good control, and that micro should go well up until Ling speed is done, but that is going to be done in 10 seconds, so Xena is going to need to go a little bit harder on the defense, I think. Evil Zoey got out a good number of Zerglings. It's taking its hatred out on some rocks. We do see lots more Lings being produced, so this looks like it's actually just going to be an attack from Evil Zoey, and Xena is going to have to micro well as Zealots are engaging these Lings. Stalkers shooting away on them. However, the Zealots only last so long. The Stalkers now have to micro back. 2 more Zealots do get warped in as a reaction. It's a good surround for Evil Zoey, however. Stalkers are in significant number. However, more Lings are rallying out, and it is a surround on one of those Stalkers. The Immortal should be fine. These 2 Stalkers are in a little bit of trouble, though. Some probes are down here, and they could potentially help buffer to defend against this attack. Another Zealot is warping on in. More probes are being produced. Looks like this Immortal may actually fall, as Xena is having a bit of a rough time here. And yeah, more and more Lings are being produced. However, probes are now being pulled into the fight, and probes are a lot more efficient in these bot games than if it was just you or I pulling probes due to the fancy micro. They pull back when they get too low on shields. However, it's really just 1 Zealot, 1 Stalker, and now scratch that, nothing left to help defend here for Xena. It can afford to lose some probes in this defense. However, it's just constant Lings for Evil Zoey being produced. And man, oh man, off 3 hatcheries with speed mining, can Zerg make a lot of units. This pylon gets shut down, and I think we may actually be seeing the Cheeser get out cheesed for this one, as there's no wall for Xena, no battery was built at that natural, and safe macro apparently wasn't safe enough for Xena, as those Lings, they kill off that natural base. Evil Zoey is going to pull back, so Xena's not dead. However, it is dead, but I think as now come on in all those Lings. Stalkers just do not cut it against mass Lings. And I think the Stalker micro was okay. They might have been missing some shots. Yeah, for example, kiting against the Lings here. They definitely were missing a few shots earlier, too. Of course, microing against the Lings, like, yeah, it's like, at what point is it better to actually get a shot off? And that is going to be it for this one. I honestly was expecting Xena to be the victor, with the shorter games being its thing. However, Zoey, Evil Zoey, of course, showing us that it can indeed take down Xena. So, yeah, well done. And that means we're going to have one final match here. So stay tuned. Couldn't have planned it any better if I tried, but we literally did get one of each race for Xena, as that is just cool to see. We have Dadbot saying, "Good morning, nice day for an Ultralist, ain't it? Could you instead go rush E?" So Dadbot being Dadbot with its Dadbot jokes, I guess. And Xena. We'll see how much it's going to be Xena this game, as it doesn't tell us what build it's going for, weirdly enough. It just says, "Tag Zerg, prepare to die." And yeah, a ZVZ for this match. Dadbot going to be going to take its natural base, same for Xena. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you do enjoy these shorter bot games grouped into bundles, so to speak, or I could always do like 2 games, 2 medium games, length games, or not really let you guys know what it's going to be like on the video if you'd prefer that. Let me know if you have thoughts about that in the comments, as I definitely do enjoy having a variety of the bot games when it comes to the openings and whatnot. Based on Dadbot's joke, I am genuinely curious if it is going to rush Ultralisk or not, which would just be ridiculous, because there's no real rushing Ultralisk. Like, a lair takes a minute to make, a hive takes a minute to make, and then you need the infestation pit, and then the Ultra Cavern, and ultras take years to build themselves, so I am wondering if it's even possible. If Dadbot does rush Ultralisk, I might have to do a video next match of Dadbot actually rushing Ultralisk. So, we do have no units being produced for Dadbot, just a queen so far, which could be problematic. We see Dadbot saying enemy random race Zerg, so it is programmed to react to what its opponent's doing. It does fire up some lings. And then saying tag general macro build, all is well in the world. And we do actually have another drone moving out for Dadbot. We'll see if it's going to take a third base. I think it is. And Xena is actually just going to be firing up a bunch of lings, as it tends to do. We see Dadbot saying tag, Zergling rush, Zergling flood, who let the dogs out, as there's a Baneling nest on the way for Dadbot too. So this game could get spicy. We don't see Baneling nests from a lot of the Zergs. And based on Dadbot's tag, it does see that this is a Ling rush, so the Banelings will definitely help it out. This Overlord is like, I want to be here, but then it's like, no, and then it chooses to die on that hill. Ling runs on in for Dadbot, actually going to make it into the main base and kind of saves that Overlord by pulling that Queen away, at least momentarily. And then more and more Lings are being made for Dadbot. I'm curious to see when or if we'll see any Banelings get morphed. As, yeah, still no third for Dadbot. It is starting to move out on the map, which I feel is definitely a mistake, seeing as how it's outnumbered on the Lings. Xena is just making Lings en masse, whereas I guess Dadbot has invested in other things, which is very risky. Like, Dadbot could go out, however, I think it would definitely need Banelings to accompany this. We do see Xena going for that attack now. Dadbot's like, ruh-roh, I'm in trouble. And even though it made that Baneling nest, we have yet to see any Banelings. The Lings for Dadbot are just trying to get on out, but I think it may be time to fight or die, as Xena is just going for that kill move. More and more Lings are being produced for Dadbot, however, it just hasn't made as many as it needs. It's going to need to fight with its queens. It is fighting on this ramp. It does have its own Ling speed done, as it makes more and more Lings, but it made the Baneling nest, but it hasn't made any Banelings, and that is pretty problematic, as I think Xena is going to show us that I think genuinely its Zerg rushes are the best build that it has, as this is just so many Lings with the speed mining. Like, this is more Lings than you'd see in a normal game of Starcraft 2, guys, and I think we're going to see Dadbot just be dead, as it didn't make Banelings. And as a result, Xena has just killed it. And so Dadbot did have some reaction to this, however, it wasn't enough for the extreme amount of rush that Xena went for. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, shorter bot games are shorter. That's a fact for sure. If you do want to see more of these, let me know. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. And do consider becoming a YouTube member if you want to support almost daily bot videos. Dadbot saying, don't make me bust you up, man, as it gets eliminated. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.